Okay, imagine this. You're working on a project, like a video or some audio for your website, and you need a voiceover.
Yeah.
But you need one that sounds like, I don't know, you,
Hmm.
or like Morgan Freeman.
Right.
That's actually possible now, thanks to companies like 11 Labs and their AI voice cloning technology.
Yeah.
But like any powerful tech, there's a whole bunch of terms and conditions.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we're diving into today.
That's right. We're looking at 11 Labs Terms of Service, specifically the non-EEA version and their privacy policy, both just updated November 2024.
Fresh.
These documents lay out the rules when it comes to creating synthetic audio
Mm-hmm.
and what happens to your voice data.
Yeah, because let's be honest, most of us just click agree without really knowing what we're signing up for.
Yeah,
But this is important stuff, especially with a technology as powerful as voice cloning.
it really is. So first things first, you have to be at least 18 years old to use 11 Labs.
Yeah.
And if you're a free user, you're limited to non-commercial projects.
So that's like personal use, hobby stuff like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Think personal use, hobby stuff.
Gotcha.
But if you're a paid subscriber, then you can use it commercially.
So that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, that's where it opens up.
Yeah.
Huge implications for businesses, content creators, the whole world.
It's like the Wild West out there.
Yeah.
Mhm. But even for paid users, there's still rules.
Yeah.
There's a whole section on prohibited uses.
Right.
So no illegal stuff, obviously.
Well, that'll be that.
No harassment, no hate speech, anything like that.
Right. They also have a strict policy against impersonating someone without their consent.
Which makes sense, right?
It makes sense.
You can imagine how this could be misused.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine the potential for misuse.
Yeah.
So 11 Labs wants to make sure people are using the technology responsibly.
Okay, so that's the basic who and what.
Right.
Now let's get into the really interesting stuff.
Your data,
Yeah.
your voice.
Yeah, of what?
So they collect the usual contact info, but what's really fascinating is how they handle your audio recordings
Mm-hmm.
and your voice data.
Right.
And this is what they use to build your unique user voice model.
Exactly. And this is where the ownership question gets interesting.
Okay.
You retain the rights to your original recordings,
Okay.
the stuff that you upload.
Yeah.
But 11 Labs gets a license to use that voice data.
Okay.
And it's a pretty broad one.
Like how broad are we talking?
We're talking a perpetual worldwide sublicensable license.
Perpetual. So that means like forever.
Forever.
Wow.
They have the right to use your voice in any way they see fit, anywhere in the world.
Wow.
And even let other companies use it.
So they could use your voice to like improve their services
Exactly. They can use your voice to improve their services, develop new products.
or even license it out to other companies, even license it out to third parties for things like audiobooks, video games, you name it.
Wow. That's a lot.
It really makes you think about the potential reach of your voice data once it's out there.
It really does. It makes you think.
I mean, imagine you record yourself reading a bedtime story for your kid,
Yeah.
and suddenly your voice is being used to train a customer service chatbot.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about the unforeseen consequences.
It's almost like giving a piece of yourself away.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
But the good news is you can opt out of having your data used for AI training.
Oh, okay.
You can also request to have your user voice model completely deleted.
Okay.
So there's a level of control there.
That's a relief. I would definitely want that option.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about data ownership, but let's get into the real heart of this technology.
Right.
Voice cloning.
Voice cloning. 11
Labs is very clear that they want people to use their technology ethically, especially when it comes to, something like deepfakes.
Deep fakes. Those are those incredibly realistic synthetic audio clips that are becoming harder and harder to distinguish from a real recording.
Right.
The potential for misinformation and harm is huge.
It really is. So what are they doing to prevent misuse?
Well, they're using your voice data
Okay.
and potentially sharing it with third parties to verify voices
Okay.
and try to prevent malicious use. It's like a digital fingerprint.
So they're using the technology itself to fight against potential misuse.
In a way, yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
But how does that actually work? How do
How?
they verify voices? Is
Well-
it some kind of like voice fingerprinting technology
Right.
or blockchain or something else entirely?
I mean, they don't get into the specifics in their documentation,
Okay.
but it likely involves analyzing the unique characteristics of your voice
Uh-huh.
and creating a sort of voice print that can be used to identify and authenticate recordings.
So there's a lot going on behind the scenes to ensure responsible use,
Yeah.
which is good to know.
Yeah.
But all this talk about voice models,
Yeah.
it raises another question.
Okay.
What happens to all that voice data that's used to train their AI?
Now we're getting into the heart of machine learning.
Okay.
They use that voice data to teach their AI, which means your voice, unless you opt it out,
Right.
could be helping their technology become even smarter.
So it's like contributing to this giant digital brain.
Exactly.
It's wild.
And to their credit, they claim to remove any information that could identify you during the training process.
Okay.
It's not about tying your voice to your personal identity,
Got it.
but rather using it to understand the nuances and patterns of human speech.
So it's more about the general characteristics of a voice
Yeah.
than about identifying any one individual.
Yeah.
Okay, that's somewhat reassuring. But it also raises those broader ethical questions
Yeah, it does.
that we were talking about earlier.
Oh,
Like,
right.
how comfortable are we with our voices being used to train AI,
Right.
even if it's anonymized?
It's a conversation that we need to keep having
Definitely.
as this technology continues to evolve.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
We've talked about who can use 11 Labs, what they can use it for,
Right.
how your voice data is used,
Yes.
and we even touched on some of the ethical concerns.
It's a complex landscape,
It is.
but we're just getting started.
Oh.
There's a lot more to unpack,
Okay.
including the legal nitty-gritty and the nitty-gritty of subscriptions.
Oh, the nitty-gritty.
The nitty-gritty.
All right, stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into the world of 11 Labs
Yes.
and explore the implications of this incredible technology.
Very exciting. Welcome back to our deep dive into 11 Labs,
Yeah.
where we're exploring the exciting and sometimes unnerving
Yeah.
world of AI voice cloning.
So last time we talked about how 11 Labs uses your voice data,
Right.
and how they're trying to balance innovation with responsibility.
Yeah.
But there's another piece of the puzzle we need to consider.
Mhm.
Security.
Security, yeah.
How do they protect all this sensitive voice data they're collecting?
Well, they actually go into quite a bit of detail about their security measures in their documentation.
Oh, okay.
They're using industry standard practices like encryption, secure servers, and strict access controls to safeguard user data.
Okay.
They even provide a link to their compliance documentation,
Oh, wow.
which is reassuring.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's like they're building a digital fortress around our voices.
Right.
But let's be realistic. No system is completely foolproof.
No.
What happens if there's a breach?
Well, they address that in their terms of service.
Yep.
They have a whole section on data breaches and their responsibilities in those situations. They outline the steps they would take to notify users, investigate the breach, and mitigate any potential damage.
Okay, so they have a plan in place.
They do.
But even with the best security,
Yeah.
there are still concerns about privacy.
Right.
We talked earlier about how they can use your voice data to improve their services.
Yeah.
But what about those cookies
Cookies.
and tracking technologies
Oh, yeah.
they mentioned in their privacy policy?
Uh-huh.
It feels like we're being watched everywhere we go online these days.
It's true. Tracking technologies are ubiquitous. 11 Labs is upfront about using cookies and similar technologies to gather information about the devices we use to access their services.
Okay.
Things like our IP addresses, browser types, operating systems,
All right.
all that fun stuff.
And they say they use this information to personalize user experience and improve their services. Right.
Right, but it does raise questions about how much information they're collecting and how they're using it.
Yeah.
Are they tracking our browsing habits on other websites?
Right.
Building detailed user profiles?
Yeah.
It's something to think about.
It definitely makes you more aware of your digital footprint.
It does.
But on a more positive note,
Okay.
remember how we discussed the option to opt out of having your data used for AI training?
Yes, that's a big one.
Yeah.
It means users have control over whether they want their voice data to contribute to the development of 11 Labs AI models.
That's good.
It's a powerful reminder that we do have some agency in this digital age.
It's like drawing a line in the sand and saying,
Yeah.
this far, but no further.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, shifting gears for a moment,
Okay.
let's talk about a particularly sensitive topic.
Okay.
Children's privacy.
Oh, of course.
It's something 11 Labs takes very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Children's data needs to be protected at all costs.
100%, yeah.
What kind of safeguards do they have in place?
Yeah.
Well, they explicitly state that they don't knowingly collect, maintain, or use personal data from children under 18.
Good.
And their services are definitely not directed at children.
Mm-hmm.
They also explicitly forbid the uploading or sharing of any voice data belonging to children.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like they're taking all the right steps
Yeah.
to protect children online.
They are, yeah.
And in addition to those safeguards,
Mm-hmm.
they also have a dedicated team to handle data protection and privacy concerns.
Okay.
They even have a data protection officer,
Wow.
which is a clear indication that they're committed to upholding user privacy.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's always good to know there's someone you can contact
Right.
if you have questions or concerns about your data.
Absolutely.
Do they provide contact information?
They provide both an email address and a physical mailing address in their privacy policy.
Okay, great.
So users have multiple channels for reaching out to them.
Okay, so it sounds like they're taking security and privacy pretty seriously.
They are.
But let's zoom out for a second and talk about the bigger picture.
The bigger picture.
What do you see as the biggest potential benefits
Benefits, yeah.
and risks of AI voice cloning?
It's like opening Pandora's box.
Ooh, okay.
On the one hand,
Okay.
the potential benefits are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine being able to personalize audio content in ways we've never dreamed of.
Right?
Books, podcasts, video games
Yeah.
could all be tailored to our individual preferences.
That's amazing.
And for people who have lost their voices due to illness or injury,
Right.
this technology could be truly life-changing,
Wow.
allowing them to communicate in their own voice again.
It's amazing to think about how this technology could empower and connect people
Yeah.
in new ways.
New ways.
But you mentioned Pandora's box.
Right.
What about the risks?
Well, the potential for misuse is a huge concern,
Mm-hmm.
especially with deepfakes.
Right.
Imagine someone using your voice to spread misinformation
Right.
or create harmful content.
Yeah.
It could damage your reputation, relationships, even your livelihood.
That's a chilling thought.
It is.
It sounds like we're entering a world where we can no longer trust our own ears.
It's definitely a possibility.
Wow.
We need to be having serious conversations about how to safeguard against misuse
Mm-hmm.
while still fostering innovation.
Right.
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's also about educating users
Mm-hmm.
and promoting responsible use.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a role to play in shaping the future of this technology.
It's like we're all standing on the edge of a new frontier.
We are.
And it's up to us to decide what kind of world we want to create with this powerful tool.
Exactly.
Wow.
And speaking of powerful tools,
Yes.
let's not forget about the legal side of things.
Oh, right.
Remember those sections we glossed over earlier about dispute resolution
Uh-huh.
and binding arbitration?
Yeah, those weren't exactly the most thrilling parts of the documents.
No, they weren't.
But I have a feeling you're about to tell me they're more important than we initially thought.
You're catching on
Mm-hmm.
in the context of AI voice cloning.
Okay.
Those legal details become crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the scenario we just discussed.
Okay.
Someone uses 11 Labs to create a deepfake audio of you saying something you never actually said.
Right.
That's where understanding your legal rights comes in.
So if I end up in a legal battle with 11 Labs,
Right.
or someone misuses their technology to create a deepfake of me,
Yeah.
I'm likely headed for binding arbitration.
You are.
That means giving up my right to sue in a traditional court. Right.
Exactly. It's a trade-off that's becoming increasingly common with online services.
Okay.
And it's something to be aware of before you click agree.
It sounds like I need to pay more attention to those terms and conditions.
It's always a good idea.
Okay.
Now, 11 Labs does offer an opt-out option for arbitration,
Oh, okay.
but you have to act fast.
Okay.
You only have 30 days from the day you first accept their terms
All right.
to notify them in writing if you want to opt out.
Oh.
And they provide a specific mailing address for that purpose.
So if you're not comfortable with the idea of binding arbitration,
Yeah?
set a reminder
Yes.
and make sure you opt out within that 30-day window.
Good advice.
Okay. We've covered a lot of ground here.
Well, yeah.
We've talked about security, privacy,
Yeah.
the potential benefits and risks of AI voice cloning,
Yes.
and even touched on the legal implications.
It's a dense topic,
It is.
but we're making good progress.
Okay.
There's still more to explore, though.
Oh, there is.
Next time, we'll delve into 11 Labs' content moderation policies
Okay.
and how they're trying to keep their platform safe and responsible.
Stay tuned for part 3 of our deep dive,
Yes.
where we'll continue unraveling the complexities of AI voice cloning
Indeed.
and its impact on our world. Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up our exploration of 11 Labs.
Yeah, a company that's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI voice technology.
We've talked about data ownership, security, and the ethical tightrope walk that comes with voice cloning.
Right.
But there's one more layer we need to peel back.
Yep.
Content moderation.
Content moderation, yeah.
How does 11 Labs keep its platform safe and responsible, especially with the potential for misuse, lurking around every corner?
Right, because we've talked about how this technology could be used to create incredibly realistic deepfakes.
Exactly.
And the implications for misinformation, harassment, all sorts of bad stuff are pretty worrying.
Yeah, for sure.
11 Labs has a strict prohibited use policy
Okay.
that outlines what you absolutely cannot do with their services.
So, what kind of stuff are we talking about?
No illegal activities, hate speech,
Yeah.
harassment, impersonation without consent. It's a pretty comprehensive list.
So they're basically drawing a line in the sand,
Yeah, pretty much.
saying, here are the boundaries, don't cross them. But how do they actually enforce these rules?
Right.
Does someone sit there listening to every single piece of audio created on their platform?
They actually address that directly in their terms of service. They say they have no obligation to monitor every single piece of content.
Okay, which makes sense.
Yeah.
It would be impossible to police every single use of their technology.
It would be like trying to listen to every phone call in the world.
Exactly, yeah. So how did they catch the bad guys?
Well, they rely on a combination of proactive and reactive measures.
Okay.
They use algorithms and automated systems to flag suspicious content.
Okay.
And they also encourage users to report anything they think might be violating the rules.
It's a bit of a community effort.
Yeah, it's a community effort with users helping to keep the platform clean.
Makes sense. But what happens if someone does break the rules?
Right.
What kind of actions can 11 Labs take?
Well, they have a range of options,
Okay.
depending on the severity of the violation.
Okay.
They could remove the offending content, issue warnings, suspend accounts, even permanently ban users. It's like a digital equivalent of a timeout, or in extreme cases, getting kicked out of school.
So they're not messing around.
No, they're not.
They're serious about maintaining a safe and responsible environment.
They are, and I think that's a really important point.
Yeah.
Because it highlights the fact that this technology, as powerful as it is, isn't some kind of free-for-all.
Right.
There are rules. There are consequences for breaking those rules.
Yeah.
And there's a responsibility that comes with using such a powerful tool.
It's like being given the keys to a supercar.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of fun with it, but you also need to be incredibly careful and responsible.
A very good analogy.
Okay, so we've talked about content moderation and the importance of using this technology responsibly. But there's another layer of complexity we haven't discussed yet.
Yeah.
The global nature of this technology.
Right. 11 Labs is a company with a global reach. Their services are accessible from all over the world, which means their user data can end up being stored and processed in different countries,
Okay.
each with their own laws and regulations about data privacy and protection.
That sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It is.
How do they even begin to navigate that?
They lay out their approach in their privacy policy. They talk about obtaining user consent, using contractual agreements, and relying on something called adequacy decisions for certain countries.
Adequacy decisions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, they're trying to make sure they're complying with the laws and regulations of all the different places where they operate.
It sounds incredibly complicated. I'm getting a headache just thinking about it.
It is complex, but it highlights an important point.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with technology that crosses borders,
Right.
you're also dealing with a patchwork of legal and ethical frameworks. What's considered acceptable in one country might not be in another.
So what does all this mean for the average user?
It means we need to be aware of these complexities.
Okay.
We need to read those privacy policies, understand how our data might be handled,
Yeah.
and make informed choices about the services we use.
It's about being an informed and empowered digital citizen, not just blindly clicking agree and hoping for the best.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into 11 Labs,
Yes.
I think it's worth taking a step back and appreciating how much ground we've covered.
We have.
We've explored the exciting possibilities of AI voice cloning, delved into the complexities of data ownership and security, and grappled with the ethical challenges that come with such a powerful tool.
It's been a wild ride.
It really has. It's amazing to see how rapidly this technology is evolving
It is.
and how it's already starting to reshape our world.
And we're just at the beginning. As AI voice cloning becomes even more sophisticated and accessible, we can expect even more innovation,
Yeah.
but also even more challenges.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about as they navigate this brave new world of synthetic voices?
I think the key is to approach this technology with a mix of curiosity and caution. Be excited about the possibilities, but also be aware of the potential risks. Ask questions, stay informed, and demand transparency from the companies developing and using this technology.
And remember, the future of AI is not predetermined. It's something we're all shaping together.
That's right. By being informed, engaged, and thoughtful, we can help ensure that this powerful technology is used for good, not for harm.
So there you have it, folks. A deep dive into the world of 11 Labs, AI, voice cloning, and the fascinating and sometimes unnerving questions this technology raises about our voices, our identities, and the future of communication itself. We hope you've enjoyed the journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep your ears open to the ever-changing soundscape of our world.